President Donald Trump set off the first opening for immigration legislation of this term when he terminated the Obama-era program that protected immigrants brought to the country as children, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. But he allowed a 6-month wind-down window, in which he specifically asked Congress to pass legislation that would provide a permanent status for this group, commonly called Dreamers. Congress should not wait 6 months to address this. The longer they wait, the less chance of actually getting it done, as other urgencies take over the legislative calendar. However, there is broad support across both parties for passing a permanent fix for this group. A majority of Americans, and a majority of Trump supporters, also favor this. The good news: there is a bipartisan deal to be had on DACA. In fact, the president himself seemed to agree to such a deal during a dinner with House and Senate Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi of California and Chuck Schumer of New York. Permanent status for Dreamers in exchange for additional border security. That high-level outline seems like an easy win for the president, Congress and Dreamers. Not only that, but it makes for good policy. But as with everything, the devil is in the details. Having led several years of back-and-forth discussions and negotiations on recommendations for a bipartisan, comprehensive immigration package as co-chairs of the Bipartisan Policy Center's Immigration Task Force, we have some unique insights on what those details could be. Such a deal could be supported by a bipartisan majority in both the House and the Senate. There are several bills already introduced that provide permanent status for Dreamers, and we are agnostic as to which should be the vehicle. But we think the following provisions must be included in any final bipartisan deal: provide a path to permanent residence for those who arrived as children. All of the bills provide for immediate protection from removal and a path to a green card after meeting conditions, such as work, study or service in the armed forces. This is an absolute requirement. No more temporary fixes. Give these young people professional and personal certainty and stability. Leave parents out of it. While we support eventual legislation for the parents of Dreamers or any other undocumented immigrants, it is now clear that addressing their status in this bill would cause one side or the other to block the legislation. Provide for border security. While funding for the border wall may or may not be on the table, Trump initially indicated it didn't have to be part of the deal, and Democrats are opposed to it. There are plenty of other border upgrades that can get bipartisan support. Technology such as remote and mobile surveillance and detection systems, upgrades to existing border fences and barriers, as well as determining where more might be helpful, flexibility in deploying the existing Border Patrol force to needed sectors, and policies to help U.S. Customs and Border Protection hire and retain the currently authorized workforce before authorizing thousands more. Provide more help at the ports of entry. As the border itself becomes harder to cross, immigrants, drug smugglers and contraband are increasingly coming through the ports, which need additional Customs and Border Protection offices to further secure them. Don't make this bill a wish list for either side, not on enforcement, nor on immigration. Attaching significant increases in interior enforcement will cause Democrats to block legislation, and the Dreamers themselves would fight against efforts to deport their families as the cost of their security. Equally, attaching other immigration measures dealing with changes on legal immigration, efforts to counter the administration's reduction in refugees or other tangents will cause many Republicans to oppose the bill. In short, with limited time until the DACA recipients become immediately eligible for deportation, and the large majority supporting Congress for addressing their status right now, our assessment of congressional realities is that a comprehensive bill is not possible at this time and could come at the cost of addressing this immediate need. We should not squander an opportunity for worthwhile, bipartisan positive immigration legislation by refighting last year's, or 2013's or 2008's, battles. Let's get a win right now and, by showing that Congress and the administration can make a bipartisan deal on immigration, build a foundation to keep going and finally fix our broken immigration system.